Hello, everyone. IMS welcomes you all to the webinar series, The P-School Insider, all you need to know about your dream school. And I'm your host, Kalyani, for this series. So today we will be focusing on IIM Lucknow, prep journey, campus life, academics, and placements. And in this session, we will be talking about the prep journey and selection criteria at IIM Lucknow. We'll also find out about the agribusiness program, PGP ABM, IIM Lucknow versus FMS, why choose IIM Lucknow, what are the placements like, why is IIM Lucknow famous for its campus life, what are the student-run ventures at IIM Lucknow, and more. So let's welcome our speakers. We have Abhyakta Patra from PGP 2024. We have Umar Ismail from PGP 2024. We have Raj Patil. He's PGP 2023. He's a management consultant at Kearney. We have Abraham. He is from PGP 2023. He's a junior consultant at Bain & Company. We have Prem Raj Survase. He's PGP ABM 2021. He's an investment banker at HDFC Bank. Welcome all of you, and thank you so much for being here for this session. So let's start from the beginning. So we will talk about a little bit, very briefly, about the prep journey that you guys had. From the CAT score to interview selection process, tips to ace it and get selected. So very briefly, if you guys can talk about your CAT score or your undergraduate background, what was it that you studied in your undergraduation? Were you having work experience, or were you a fresher when you were applying for IIM Lucknow? And so we can start from the current batch. Let's start from Abhyakta, then we'll go to Omar, then Abraham, then Raj, and then Prem Raj. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Kalyani. So thank you first of all for having us for this session. So to answer your question, so I am an engineer by profession. I have graduated in 2019 as an electronics and communication engineer from NIT Rourkela. Post that, I worked for a total of 3 years. The first two of which were spent with Deloitte USA Consulting as a cloud DevOps engineer. The last 1 year with ZS Associates as a market research associate. Post that, after 3 years of work experience, IIM Lucknow happened. And through all these 3 years, I was preparing for CAT essentially, but it eventually happened at the end of 3 years. To give you some context about the prep, first of all, to begin with, the CAT score that I had was 99.2 percentile. And that eventually, along with the interview marks and everything, helped me to convert IIM Lucknow. So in terms of preparation, given I was preparing for the 3 years, so by the time I took CAT for the fourth time, I was well prepared. But when I started preparing for CAT, I focused more on the fundamentals. So there are some key fundamentals that you need to have in place to ace or each of the three sections of CAT, which is reading with 100% concentration when you're in VRC, time bounding yourself to not more than 10 minutes per passage. I mean, the tricks and tips are going to vary from person to person, but this is what I followed. Similarly, in DILR, that was sort of my Achilles heel. It was the toughest session that I found. So I always made it sure from my end that I pick up the most easiest sets in the first 5 or 6 minutes, and then spend the rest of the time just focusing on them and ignoring the rest of the difficult sets. So I typically, even in the last attempt I scored somewhere around 17 or 18 marks, not more than that. And that was enough for me to cross the cutoff. Lastly, in quant was sort of my strength. So as I told, I had a very terrible DLR section. So it was important for me to not brood over about that when the quant section started. So I divided my quant section of 40 minutes into 4 sprints of 10 minutes each. In each of the 10 minutes, I focused just on the first 6 questions, then the next 6 questions, and so on and so forth. I'll spend the first minute in identifying which are the 3 or 4 easy questions out of the 6, then tackle them in the rest 8 minutes. And this is what I did for each of the 4 sprints. And I had a good percentile in quant. I could get 99.84, so that eventually helped me to get a good overall percentile. Then from the interview perspective, I mean, it's very simple. There is nothing much. You just need to need.
So we'll talk about the interview after. Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks. And of course, we will be taking in some of the CAT questions as well towards the end. So then you can probably talk about your, CAT prep and retakes. How do you learn from those and all that? Okay, Omar.
Yeah, hi everyone. Really happy to be here as a former IMS student myself. So yeah, I know I've been in one of these sessions 1 year back. So I'm an engineer by profession. Again, I'm an electrical engineer from Cochin University of Science and Technology. Post which I worked for 2 years as a software developer for Tata Consultancy. And in that time, it was my third CAT attempt that finally got me to IIM Lucknow. So briefly talking about my journey. First attempt, I had 90 percentile, second 92, and third May 99.48. And yeah, so I think Abhita like really clearly talked about strategy and everything. So I just like probably talk about the thing that worked for me was really identifying where I am good at and trying to maximize that and sort of minimizing the risk in what I'm not good at. So contrary to what people believe, as an engineer, I'm not that good in quant. Quant was my not so strong area, but I was good in VRC. So I had a 99.98 percentile in VRC. So that was my area of sort of expertise, and I was able to maximize that part of things. And prep strategy, again, like Abhita again talked about, it's not about how much you can do in 2 hours. It's mostly maximizing what you're good at and damage limitation what you're not good at. So making sure that on the side that you're not good at, not about like learning to let go of the things that you can't do and prioritizing what you can do and doing that to the best extent possible is, I think, the way to go about it. And of course, consistency is key. You have to practice day in, day out. There will be good days, there will be bad days in the journey, but really going through that and coming through the interview, I'd say the easiest way to work things about.
Abraham, just your cat tip maybe, and your one learning, and then of course we can talk about the rather things.
So first of all, really happy to interact with all of you all part of this session. So I'm part of the 2023 PGP batch, and I completed my engineering from VIT Belloc, and post that I worked for 3 years in the Royal Bank of Scotland. Now, coming to my CAT score, I had a 95 percentile score, and it was my first attempt. So I was not really it was not my decision like that. I always wanted to go for CAT. I wrote GRE and I was ready to go outside. But if you remember 2020 was the year of COVID, and all the university deferred admits, and it was like a last minute attempt. So maybe I would be able to help you all with giving some inputs, not necessarily on the CAT per se, but maybe on the interview part.
Absolutely.
On the interview part.
We'll focus on that for that. Thanks, Abraham. Raj.
So hello, guys. Happy to be here with you all. So I'm a mechanical engineer. So I did my BTech from NIT Surat. After that, I worked with Siemens for 3 years in operations domain, typically as a mechanical engineer would do. So in CAT, I scored somewhere around 98.55 or 65. And specifically for quants, I scored 99.90 percentiles. So what I would recommend, my colleagues have covered almost most of the things. So for quant specific, refer CAT 100 percentile blog, which is of Scrabbler. I was very fortunate to have Scrabbler and Shashank sir as my mentors at the IMS. So I would recommend you guys to go through that blog. Rest we can talk it later in the session.
Sure. Thanks, Raj. Prem Raj. The sole person from PGP ABM. You have a lot of questions from me. You'll be getting those. Prem Raj.
It is great to be here, especially catching with my juniors, and I've been the senior guys in this panel. So I would say, personally, I belong from Mumbai, being a Maharashtrian, then got into my engineering from Pune, D.O. Patel College of Engineering. There I did my engineering post that I played for a couple of years as a state cricketer. I was playing professional cricket for like around 10, from like 2010. I played professionally, and I gave a CAT just for a shot. Was able to get into 10.1% in the first go. So it will be a little bit, you can say, lucky that year. It was a pre-COVID and everything prep really went well. So talking about my prep, giving a short thing, I would say my VRC was weak. My content there was good. I already have scored in the first go 19.5 percentile. But my VRC was a little weak. So worked on a lot of strategies, got to know to what I can improve in a short, 4 months, and read a lot of newspaper paragraphs and etc. Then got into that. So got good percentile, 99.1 total overall percentile, got into IIM Lucknow. Yeah, that is my short journey. And again, the specific about ABM, yeah, I had during that year I converted all the calls except ABC. Those I didn't have those three calls. All the calls that I, but I choose PGP ABM over other K or I PGP. But yeah, we'll talk it about later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in the academic section. Yeah, okay. So let's talk about now the interview bit. What's exactly the selection criteria at IIM Lucknow? Is it like or every B school has its own rules? Like, they give certain B schools are giving more weightage to CAT score, and some towards interviews, or for that matter, even profiles. And as varied the profile, the higher the chances. So is there something like that? What's the kind of selection criteria and all? Ibrahim, can you take this question first? The interview section, and also what was your experience and what worked for you? So you can also provide the tips for that. Yeah.
Yeah. So should I take even that selection criteria?
So let somebody else take the selection criteria. You can talk about your interview, your experience, as well as what worked for you. Yeah.
So I think with respect to the interview, I think what really worked was that I think the common tips that I always feel good is you need to be aware of the current happenings within the country and globally as well.
Yeah.
And obviously, you need to prepare for why MBA is the next logical step for you, and you need to convince the interviewers that.
Right.
And apart from that, you should be thorough with your CV, your work experience, what have you learned from that, what have been some of your shortcomings, etc. But what I really believe that some people, when we normally prepare for all this, and apart from that, few puzzles and other things, you should always prepare. But I think what really would set you apart is that, there are hundreds of students, right, with the same pedigree, same background, same work experience that will be applying for CAT, and they would also have your similar score. That's why they have got into the interview round, right? But what you really need to think is what story you have, right? One small thing that the interviewer after the interview would remember about you, right? And you need to look for ways in which you are able to communicate this across to the interviewer, right? They would not directly ask you this, but you need to look for opportunities where this could be. And this would be as simple as your consistency in your academics, or maybe you overcame some obstacle along your journey, maybe during your college or other things. It could be you're exceptional in one sport. It could be your hobby which you have pursued over a period of time. It could be your volunteering experience. But you need to think about that one story which, apart from your normal academics, work ex, pedigree, IIT, CAT, that you need to be able to communicate to the interviewer. And I think that is what really, worked for me per se as well. So for me, it was not that I was from IIT or anything, but what I was able to communicate to them was that throughout my school, college, and even in my work experience, I was always consistent with respect to the performance. Be it in school, I was able to get consistent scores. Be it in college, I was able to get consistent scores. Be it in my work ex, I was consistently among the top performers. So I was able to get across that story, and I was also able to convince them why I was having a low score, right? Because 95 percentile, if you see in CAT for a general category student, is definitely low, right? So definitely that was also a point in question. Like, why do you think we should hire you, or why do you think we should take you? Right? I think so. Having that, you could also have certain gaps in your education,
So what
right?
kind of questions that were asked to
So
you?
the one of the question that was asked to me was that obviously why MBA? One question. The second question was this, which I told, right? Why should we take you? We have much better people. We have much better people with CAT score and other things. Why should we take you? And the third thing was similar to today. I was sitting in front of this bookshelf, right? So they asked me, there are a lot of books in your background. Pick one book and tell what was the key learning from that book, and things like that. So I think that was what really, I think it was just a 10-minute interview, and able to discuss all of these were like what really got me through. I think it was the interview that really made up for me, I would say.
Very nice. Yeah, thanks, Abraham. Yeah, Omar
Le-
and Abhirka, can you guys tell us about the selection criteria and also your own personal interview? What were the kind of questions that were asked? So maybe, Omar, you can go first and then Abhirka.
Yeah. So when it comes to selection criteria, it's always published. Like it's specific to different IIMs, and I think IIM Lucknow specifically is published. Yeah, it is published for them, and they have work experience has a certain amount of points. Academic consistency very high. CAT score very important, and diversity, things like that all come into play. As part of the process, you'll be asked to fill out a certain application form. Where you have to write an SOP on why you want to come to IIM Lucknow and what are the qualities that set you apart, which is quite evaluative in the process.
Okay.
And I think this year onwards, the returnability test is back. So what is part of the process again? So which was not the case for, I think, majority of the people here. We just had since we were the COVID time. So we didn't have that. So coming to my interview, I think the only takeaway like I would give is be honest. Don't try to portray things you're not, because they will pick it up. They've seen hundreds of these interviews. They interview hundreds of these candidates, and it's very easy to pick up on a lie, right? So I'd say just be very true to yourself. They're looking for genuineness. They're looking for people who are comfortable in their own skin, who are like proud of the people they are. So even if, for example, like Abraham said, like if the percentile or something is not that great, what do you have backing it? What were you up to at that time that covers up for it? So if it's something that's great, then you can obviously talk your way through. Then I think that first question, give an introduction about yourself itself, sets the context for the entire interview, right? If you're able to put enough hooks in the introduction itself, you can guide the direction which the interview goes in. So it's really important on like, I think the first step, answering those two fundamental questions. First, introduce yourself. Second, why MBA? If you're able to really drill down on a very good sort of answer for this question, you can set the context for the interview in which direction it goes in. And I think that's very important. That's something I felt I did right. I set the context for the interview on how I want to portray myself, and it kind of worked out for me. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Just before we go ahead,
yes.
let me substantiate Omar's and Abram's basically the point by numbers. So out of 100 composite score, 40% weightage is given to the interview.
Okay.
So it's okay if your past was not as you expected. You can still make it to the IIM Lucknow if you do well in the interviews.
Right. Very good point, Raj. Thanks for adding that. Okay. Abhirka, can you also give us some tips on SOPs? What are the things that one should keep in mind when they're writing their SOPs, especially for IIM Lucknow specifically? Yeah.
Okay. So before even going to
and
the
also
SOP,
your question, what were the questions that were asked?
So
were
as far as
there a lot of questions regarding since you've had like varied work experience, were there questions regarding that as well?
So essentially, Omar covered it very comprehensively what happens in the interview room. So of course, in the introduction that they asked me, I narrated about my work ex at Deloitte. I narrated about my work ex at CS. So and a marketing professor was sitting on the other side, and I talked about doing market research at ZS. So the natural question is what kind of work you did, what kind of market research techniques that you do, how is and a bit about the technicalities of the client that I was serving, the industry that I was working for. So essentially, what we are trying to tell is you just need to be sure about what you have done and what you are mentioning in the introduce yourself. It's as easy as that. If you're 100% sure about your past, your work experience, and why you want to do an MBA, why is that the most logical thing for you to do? I think interview is going to be a smooth ride. There is nothing really rocket science behind it. Now coming to the second part on SOP, so the way I framed it is again a bit of context about where I'm coming from. When I say where I'm coming from, what is the work that I have done, a bit of introduction about it. Second, why do I want to do an MBA? And thirdly, why MBA at IIM Lucknow? What is it that IIM Lucknow offers to me, which makes it the most special place for me to do an MBA? So this is how I framed my essay within the word limit. And now coming lastly, because there was a question on the selection criteria. So the initial shortlisting, out of the 100 marks, 60% is for CAT, CAT score, and you need to ensure that you are getting 85 percentile and above in each of the 3 sections. So that's the bare minimum criteria. After this 60%, 10 marks each to a 12th score and undergrad score. So that makes it 80. 10 more marks is being given to work experience. And the last 10 marks is given to diversity. 5 marks for academic diversity and 5 marks for gender diversity. So that sums up the 100%.
All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Thanks, Abheka. Yeah. Premraj, tell us about what's the experience like for interview for PGP ABM? Is it very different? And were you asked like why not something else? Why after your field? Why do you want to get into?
So basically, I would say there was no differentiating with because the panelists itself were from PGP. Both the professor were the PGP. So there was no difference between about ABM questions or nothing. No relation.
The process is the same.
Same. Everything is same to the last day.
And all that.
So the process till the last day of placement of the college, everything remains same. There is no difference between PGP and PGP ABM. I would say this is the first question. The second thing would be about my experience about interview. It's a little unique because my background was totally about cricket. So they used to ask me whether the ball is swinging on the right side or left side. Why is it happening? What is the mechanism behind them? If there is air resistance. So it's a little unique. They asked me to make a graph with the cricketer's career growth and the number of scores. So my interview was totally run through cricket, nothing through my work because I didn't have work case, so I was totally fresher. I'm coming from Tier 2 college, no IIT something. So really different kind of unique experience. And I would say the only question that interviewer asked me, he said me literally that the last question I'm going to ask, this will be making you into IIM Lucknow or not. Like he specifically mentioned me, and this he asked me, you have to judge, you have to know that which mobile phone is in my pocket. So the question he had, and he gave me 3 options. You can ask me 3 questions, I'll be giving the answer, and to know the which mobile you have. So the little different type of experience, interview experience. And the third one would I would say about the part of interview. See, I understand there is a criteria of 40%, 60% other criteria, but I would say that it is all about the professor. Okay, the professor is thinking that he wants the kind of student like you are to be in his class. He will make sure that you are selected for that campus. He has that power. He has that criteria changing ability. I would say we want that student inside that. So it is all about impressing the interviewer in that specific interview. Don't think about what has happened, what are the criteria, it's everything fine. Once you do the same, just fine. Yeah.
All right. Okay, great. Yeah. So let's talk about academics now. So let's start from Premraj. Let's find out what PGP agribusiness management all about, and also how different are the subjects for that? Which semester? Like right from the beginning, is it different? Is it from PGP? How does it work? So Premraj, you can take the academics bit for ABM, and Umar and Abhyakta, you can take the academics bit for PGP. How do you select the electives? When do you select those? How do you go for the bidding and all that? Yeah. So Premraj first. Yeah.
So basically for first 3 semester, like for trimester, I would say first year, only one extra subject additional to the normal PGP courses. Where we're doing one agri subject. It may be finance, it may be or marketing, it may be. So basically the concept remains same, but the application is more toward agri field, like toward agriculture, because it is more toward agri business. They want to explore. They want the college idea about to have ABM program is to encourage those sectors, like to have those people, because a lot of people who come from agri background of colleges for those people. But even if you're not, if you want to have knowledge, it's good to have that one elective every semester. So there is nothing minus. It will be additional. You'll be getting more rigorous. Coming to second year, I would say out of like 7 subjects, if you have 7 elective in a particular semester, there will be 3 to 4 kind of elective, which will be ABM elective. But the concept remains same. The marketing, finance, strategy, the core things remain same. That's the application is agri field. That's it. So since I would say at the end of the day, everything remains same. There's nothing changed. Nothing changes.
Okay. Umar and Abhyakta, PGP.
Abhyakta, you want to take a stab at it first, or?
Yeah, I can take on. So with respect to the academics, so in the first year itself, you per term you'll be having roughly around 6 to 7 courses. And some of these courses will be lasting for the whole term, some of them will be for the half of the term, depending on the number of credits. So
Okay.
these are essentially foundational courses in MBA, foundational courses in different domains of MBA, like marketing, finance, strategy, operations, which sort of are the bread and butter for any MBA graduate, right? They prepare you for your summer internship in a way or the other. Now, once you have this foundation set up, in the second year, you basically get a chance to choose the domain in which you want to specialize. So maybe if you're a fin person, I know people who go all in. Out of the total 15 courses, they probably take 13 courses, 12 courses of fin. If you're someone who is not sure, if you want to experiment with multiple domains, sure, you can go ahead and do that as well. Probably you can choose to specialize in marketing, strategy, and operations at the same time as well. So it's completely up to you, the way you want to set up your second year for. You get a lot of flexibility. But in the first year, the flexibility is less because they want to sort of give you a well-rounded perspective on various foundation courses.
And first year is more stressful, I believe, right?
Not really. I mean, in academics, it's completely up to you because you get to decide the amount of stress you want to take. Of course, you need to get the bare minimum grades, but I don't think anyone at IIM Lucknow needs to stress to get those bare minimum grades. Beyond that, if you want to be a 9-pointer, of course, you need to take a bit more stress than the rest.
Yeah, but is it like from day zero you guys start getting quiz and stuff?
No, not really. So essentially, it's a very conducive atmosphere. You don't really have quizzes from day zero, day one.
Okay.
So they teach you some for a week or so, and then they tell you when the quizzes are going to be. Surprise quizzes are a rarity. I mean, I don't remember sitting in more than 10 quizzes in 2/3 of my MBA done so far. So yeah, it's a very well-informed, transparent process when it comes to academic regulations. Of course, you will have quizzes, you will have midterms, you will have end terms, you will have projects, but you'll be posted well in advance about all of this.
Okay. I've also heard that, IIM Lucknow is also famous for their faculties. So, Umar, what's your favorite subject? And is there any particular class that you prefer more or something?
Yeah, I would say, IIM Lucknow's faculty is quite famous. We've got some really good people here. And, academic rigor is something that IIM Lucknow is famous for. So I took a course in term 4 called Revenue Management and Dynamic Pricing, which was quite interesting. It's around the lines of why airlines, dynamically change their prices and things like that. So quite technical, and I felt it was quite interesting. So that's, I think, what IIM Lucknow really gives you. That it's very industry specific, like learnings. It's very updated, very sort of the now things that you really require in business today. There are things that you directly translate from classroom to business, like when you are in corporate and you work, because most of the professors here are also coming from lots of experience in the field. They've done their work. They've done a lot of consulting with governments, with corporations and things like that. So the faculty itself know what they're talking about, right? So that's important. And actually, just building on what Abhita also said regarding, the sort of workload that you have. See, if you're a person who's smart enough to make it here, you are a person who's smart enough to cope up with the academic pressure. It's not a problem. The sort of expectation that there'll be a quiz every other day, no, not the case. Okay, you'll be well informed regarding examinations, assessments, and things like that. Projects. Although they are tough, although they are challenging, it becomes interesting. It becomes sort of enjoyable to do because there are 500 other people doing it with you, right? You're not alone doing it. So it's a sort of camaraderie that you get with your batch, and you move along with it, and it becomes part of the life, really.
Abhita, you have any favorite subject or favorite class?
Yeah. I was also texting Omar on the sideline. So both of us attended a course on applied marketing strategy by Professor Rajiv Kumra. So he's a very well-known professor who also runs course for the chief marketing officers of different firms. So that's a very practical course. And I worked on market research before coming to IIM Lucknow. And I could actually see that what he was teaching, a part of it I had done before, and a part of it I wanted to do after MBA. So, and again, the course is across multiple industries, starting from automobiles to BFSI to pharmaceuticals to FMCG, covers all the industries and how marketing is done in each of those industries. So probably that was the most standout course for me.
Okay. Abraham and Raj, can you guys cover the clubs and committees? Oh, you also want to tell something about
So
faculty? Please go ahead.
Before moving to clubs and committees, I just want to sum up the academic section. So the academic journey at IIM Lucknow is not as easy as it sounded, because these guys tried to be modest about it. and it's not as difficult as you have heard about IIM Lucknow. So there are challenging courses. Yes, to score good, you have to put in extra efforts. If you can manage just scoring average marks, yes, you can. But if you want to score more, yes, it's more challenging. But can you manage without studying? No, you cannot, because there are people who have failed the courses. So it's not really as easy it sounds.
Thank
But
you for being so honest.
yeah,
Just to give some
Telling the
context,
students.
just to give
No,
some context, I
I
think
want to add some.
Yes, yeah. Who wants to say first? Yeah, a big.
No, no,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
just to
Avicta,
give
you go
some
first. Yeah.
just to give some context, I think Raj Patil was one of the top 20 or top 30 students in the batch out of 570. So
Yeah.
of course, it's going to be challenging if you want to be top 600. That too in IIM, look, it's going to be challenging.
Okay. Yeah. Abraham, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, so what I really felt with respect to academics is that, see, unlike undergraduate college or anything, right? It's not that it's absolutely required that you need to be an 8-pointer, 9-pointer, or an IR to to get the best out of a B school, right? So you can, without maybe a 6-pointer, would also get way very good placements, be part of very good clubs and committees. It's just about where you want to prioritize and how much you want to pull out of academics, right? So it's depending how much effort and stress you need to take is directly proportional from what you want from an academics. Like similar to what Abhikta was saying, if you want to be like Raj, if you want to be an institute ranker, obviously you have to stress about it. You'll have to forego a lot of other things for that. But it depends, right? So that is one thing that I wanted to add. Like it's not an absolute that everyone would have to put some amount of same amount.
But Raj, were you having fun as well or not?
yeah.
Because
So
IIM
let me
Lucknow is
explain.
known for parties as well,
Yeah.
no? The nightlife
So
and all that.
yeah. So the ultimate goal of everybody might be the same, but the journeys are different, as Abraham said. So
Correct.
someone might choose to get different things on their CV. I might choose different, Abhyakta might choose different, but ultimately we might land at a same place. So this is the compromise you have to make, or the path you have to lay down based on your background and what you have and what you don't.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Just to add,
Yes,
just to add
Premraj,
last
let's come to
thing,
you. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
because they in the first couple of semester I scored around 7 CGPA. Okay, but post that I was 3-pointer, a 3.5, 3.6 pointer.
Okay.
So just a different, I'm telling different from CGPA because these guys are brilliant, I guess. Because they have maintained consistent CGPA, but totally different experience from my point of view, because the Raj said very correctly, because I wanted to add something else in my CV. So I didn't focus on academic, I shifted and focus toward other activities. So that kind of, so it's on you how you want to, but everyone ends at the same place in the end, like what you want to do.
Correct. Yeah. Good point. Yeah. So, okay, Premraj, you can start with the clubs and committees. What clubs and committees you were members of?
So I would
Tell me
not say club
something,
committee.
no, there's also another question for you. PGP students and agribusiness students, do you guys, mix?
Yeah. So everything happens same. We sit in the
Just
same
wanted to
class
ask.
which these guys are sitting. So basically, what I would just give you a simple explanation that what these guys are doing, PGP guys, it's the same thing happen. We sit in the same class, we eat in the same mess, we do the same activity and the same club committee.
And
There is
I've
no
heard
change.
that the mess food is really fantastic. Is it true?
Yes, I would like it's good.
Omar is
For me, it was
making
good.
face.
These are guys from Booker or GNB. There are different couple of other outlets we have.
Yeah. I'm
These guys.
gonna come to that as well. Yeah. Okay. So, Premraj, which clubs and committees you were a member of, and then Abraham, then Raj, then Omar, then Abhikta. Yeah.
So basically, I was a captain of cricket. First, I would say, not with the club committee. The other thing was, I was the placement controls team, one of a team which I helped placement committee in terms of scheduling and all like background. So this was the club committee that I was part of.
Okay. So, but you were part of the PlaceCom, but you could also be part of other committees and clubs.
So PlaceCom means the people who talk in front end to the HRs. Placement controls the team which controls all the scheduling part. Like if a lot of interviews have, it is a different altogether game. During placement, like a lot of companies come in, lot of students. So we have to manage those two
Yeah.
things together, which is done by placement controls. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Ibrahim, clubs, committees.
So I was part of the placement committee.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you could not be part of any other committee, I believe, right? No.
No, so people in placement committee cannot be part of
Yeah.
other clubs or committees, but they can be part of the institute after in their second year. They can be part of the sports teams and other things.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Raj.
Yeah, so as long as we talk about clubs and committees, I was not into any of them.
Because he
Okay,
was
so
too busy studying.
no, that is not the point.
Okay.
So, for example, I tried to get into student council, but I lost the elections for president. So that was my choice, what I wanted to do. So getting into clubs and committees is equally challenging task, I would say. There is a particular set of rules or certain levels are set where you need to submit your assignments or whatever. They have particular task to do. So there is a selection criteria well set in advance, which will be judged on several parameters. And after that, a committee is selected based on the preferences of the existing committee members and as well as the formal criteria once they meet it. Because, for example, if there are academic groups, for example, OIG, operations, or a marketing, then you need to specialize in marketing if you want to be in marketing club. If you don't specialize in operations if you want to be part of operations club, and also you need to maintain a specific CGPA to be in that academic interest group. So there are certain rules for different clubs and committees.
Okay. Yeah, Umar, quickly, clubs, committees.
Yeah, so I am part of the admissions counseling club. That's part of the admissions mentoring process. So many of you guys here, you might be hearing from us after you guys, hopefully many of you will get an IIM Lucknow call. You will hear from a team called Team Ignition. And I'm also part of Team Disha, which is the placement prep committee. We work in tandem with the placement controls like Premraj, and yeah, I'm with Abhyakta in the same committee.
Okay, yeah, Abhyakta, anything
Yeah,
else?
I think Omar covered for me as well. I'm also a part
Okay.
of Team Disha, which is the placement preparation team at IIM Lucknow.
Okay. All right, let's quickly talk about the foreign exchange program and then we'll move to internships and placement. Yeah, foreign exchange program. Who can talk about it?
Yeah,
Okay,
so I have been to foreign exchange
Yeah.
in one of the Paris's college, IESCG. So let me explain you how it's been and how the program is.
Yeah.
So to opt for the foreign exchange program, it's basically based on the bidding. Again, the bidding criteria is based on your CGPA and rank amongst the batch.
Okay.
So that is one thing. And once you once you choose to get into the foreign exchange, so there you have to be for one full semester at one of the universities abroad. So the tuition fees is covered by the college itself, the home college. You need to manage your expenses about basically accommodation, travel, all of this needs to be taken care by ourselves at the foreign college. So I had really great time. I mean, trust me, it was kind of a good vacation as well as a first-hand perspective towards things. Usually, the perspective that I had living in India about the rest of the Europe or the foreign countries, and the perspective that I have now is a bit different because I experienced things with my eyes, and I was there for 4 months. So I would say if someone gets chance to be into this exchange program, one should.
Okay. Yeah, Prebraj, you wanted to say something? Yeah.
No. I would just say Abraham and me are not allowed to go for the student exchange role. The
Because
people
of
were
the
part of
placecom, is it?
Placecom and placement controls team. That there are some committee and clubs you could say which cannot be allowed for the student exchange.
As I said, one needs to make choices about what they want.
Okay, yeah, let's move to internships and placements. So, and then, we'll take a few questions because, there is a question that has been repeated again and again on both the chat boxes this year, and I have to take it because this year IIM Lucknow is pepper setter. How much difficult will be this year's paper? I just found that question very.
I think I responded it in the chat itself.
Yeah, okay.
So my simple response was,
yes.
So usually there has been no pattern in who sets exam and what has been difficulty level. it was usually being said, if IIM Calcutta sets it, then cons will be difficult. If IIM Kozhikode sets it, verbal will be difficult. But that pattern was completely broken from 2020, CAT 2019, I think.
Okay.
Once IIM Ahmedabad
From
the
from
paper
the year
was
I
easy.
started it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there is
From
no
the
pattern,
year,
trust me.
yes, yes. Totally, madam. I just want to add, Raj said 2019. Mine was the first the year I gave the CAT. For the first time, this pattern was like broken by the IMC or someone. Because there was no pattern post that, it is like random. You will never know what will come. Just be prepared.
Yeah, so be prepared. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about internships. Internships, well, let Omar and Abeka take care of the internships bit, and then placements, of course, we'll go to Abraham about the process, and then, or maybe Raj, you can talk about the process, placement process, and a little bit about your experience. Then Abraham, you can talk about your experience with Bain. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Abeka, you can start. Umar, please pitch in. Yeah.
Okay. So with respect to the summer internship process, so in a way, the summer internship process starts in the initial few weeks once you step into IIM Lucknow campus. So there are dedicated. So Omar and I are a part of Team Lisa, which takes care of building your resumes, putting your best version of your story till now in one piece of paper. And after the CV freeze, sort of the company applications start opening up. And you have got all kinds of companies that visit IIM Lucknow. The list is endless. I'm pretty sure Abraham will be shedding more light on it. Like name a domain and you will find multiple recruiters who will be visiting the campus for that. And there are dedicated resources. So I'm pretty sure that a lot of people attending the call might be having a big question about once we join IIM Lucknow, how can we appear for summer internship process within a span of 3 or 4 months? So we have got a well set template that takes care of the preparation for internships of PGP ones. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be the same whenever they are going to join. No need to worry on that front. You have got enough support systems. The entire batch of PGP2 steps up to support these guys over the course of the 2 months, 3 months of preparation, and even during the placement week as well. And of course, you will end the summer placement cycle year after we end the summer placement cycle year after year with a high of achieving 100% placements as well.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Umar, and you want to say anything else regarding your experience? No.
You're asking me?
Yeah, Abeka. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was pretty sure. So essentially, I was completely confused what domain that I want to go in because I interned in a electronics company, then I worked in an IT firm, then I did pharma market research, and even when I was joining IIM Lucknow, I was still confused. So I decided to pursue consulting because there you practically get a chance to explore multiple domains and then take an informed call. So I was sorted on that front that I wanted to go into consulting. So I prepared my resume accordingly, targeting some of my dream firms that I had, and I was fortunate enough to get shortlisted. And eventually, there was a month-long process, and I could convert the summer internship with Bain & Company.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Great. Yeah. Umar, tell me something. What if you have an internship like somebody has an internship in a company or in a domain that they are not very excited about. So what do they then do? Can they sit for the final placements again, or how does it work? And then, of course, you can talk about your own placement, your own internship experience.
Right. So I think it's first important to understand that it's at the end of the day, it's an internship. Okay. It's an ability to try out something, and maybe in the process of trying out, you will either, even if it's like to answer your question, with something that you were not entirely hot on when you decide to do an MBA, you might find out that okay, it's something cool, or it will at least confirm your bias that I do not want to do this. So at the end of the day, an internship is a trial process. And even if, for example, after the internship, you want to try something else, you can always sit for the final placements, and you can go into the domain you want to target and things
Unless
like that.
you get a PPO, that is. If you get a PPO,
you have the option to reject a PPO as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's given as an option to students because at the end of the day, it's very, like, obviously it's very caught up, like in the process for B schools and everything. It's very, you get embroiled in the fact that you're running behind placements. But I think it's very important to understand the real value add from the MBA is the fact that you're an IIM Lucknow student, or you're like this is what you have attached to your resume.
Right.
Where you get placed and what happens from there is just a launching pad, and from there, obviously, your network will get you wherever you want to go to. So it's really important that placements are a factor, but it's not the be all and end all in anything, right? So it's just a part and parcel of the process. Just to shed light on it, I interned at Amazon. For me, I had a great time, wonderful time doing some really cool work. Met some really smart people, and yeah, for me, I had a fantastic time there doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Abraham. Okay, Raj, you can talk about the placement process very briefly,
So-
and then your experience, and then you can go, and then Premraj, you can talk about the entire thing for agribusiness. Yeah.
So what I feel is Abraham is best person to hear the placement
Yes.
process form.
Okay.
He was a placement committee member, so let's
I
hear
I
thought
was
his
going to
like
say the
maybe,
same thing.
because
Abraham is the right person.
I just thought like maybe because you like to sum up everything, so I thought maybe you'll be summing it up very nicely. Anyway, yeah, okay, fine, Abraham, you can go. Yeah.
Maybe I'll take a hint, and if Raj wants to add something after that, he can
Yes,
add. So basically, IIM Lucknow, the placements happen in 3 cycles. So one is the summer placements, which happens in the first year when you join, and that normally happens between September and October, September and to October. So there we follow something like the day system, day 0, day 1, wherein multiple companies are slotted on a day, and the placements gets over within 2 to 3 days. And then you have the HEP, which is basically a placement process for those with experience, and that happens along with the classes, right? So the campus does not stop; it happens over a month along with the classes. So it happens normally in your second year between November to December, right? That time. And the third is the final placements, which is again everyone are eligible for it, and it happens similar in the day system, right? January end to February it happens. So this is basically the 3 cycles that we have at IIM Lucknow. And any other details on the
No,
cycle?
no. So the thing is, how exactly how did Bain happen? Was it a PPO or was it a final placement?
So Bain was a PPO.
Okay.
So similar to what Abhikta was saying, you would have a shortlist, and this is not just specific to Bain. Similar to consulting companies, you have a shortlist. There is a month-long buddy process wherein you would have to interact with them, do cases with them, and then finally the interview happens on day 0. Basis your interview and your case solving and the feedback from buddies, you are given basically you are an extended an offer, a consulting offer. And then I did my internship for 2 months, and basis the evaluation on that, I got the PPO.
Okay, but tell me, as far as recruiters are concerned, and the kind of domain, so is it very domain specific, as in more consulting or more marketing, less finance, or how does it work for IIM Lucknow? Yeah.
So good that you asked that question, because very rarely we get this opportunity as a place com to address this.
Yes.
So I think one thing that I have observed in my 2 years with IIM Lucknow and dealing closely with placements is that one good thing about IIM Lucknow placements is that it's very well rounded, right? It's not that you have only consulting or finance. And I strongly believe that we are at par or very fast bridging the gap between the placements at IIM, ABC versus L, right? So that's what I believe. And maybe I can just give you some of the, like, since you asked domain wise, right? Like if you take any domain, like if you take finance, you have almost all the major global banks, including Citi, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Barclays visiting. If you have private equity, we have Premji Invest, multiples, Rohatyn Group visiting. In consulting, we have almost all the major ones, McKinsey, Bain, BCG, Kearney, Extract, and Samagra, Big Four visiting us. And if you look at product management, right, we have Google, Microsoft, Atlassian, Adobe, Salesforce visiting us. Marketing, we have P&G, HUL, ITC, Coldpal, Dabur, Mars. And if you look at operations, we have Amazon, Flipkart. And if you look at Genman, we have TAS, ABG, Capgemini, RPG, Reliance. So what I strongly believe is that if you look at it overall, right, and if you look for 90% of the people, the placements that you're going to get, or 90 to 95% of the people, it would be very similar to ABC. The top maybe 1 or 2%, and the bottom 5 to 10%. That is the only difference that is going to have between in terms of placements from an IIM Lucknow versus an ABC. That's what I have observed in my 2 years.
So I resonate completely with Abram, and it's really good that he addressed in a very open forum.
Yes.
Because we keep discussing these things in person with our group of friends, but it's really good that he addressed it in an open forum with stats. That's really good. So let me.
Yours was what? Was it a PPO?
No, yeah. So let me come up to this point. So I decided to do MBA during my undergrad. So it was very much clear that I want to do MBA. So I started building my profile in extracurriculars and co-curriculars. So I was in student council at NIT Surat for all the years. So I was a handball player, so I played at nationals. So those were things that I worked on keeping MBA in the mind. So I started my building profile since then. So when I was at my work experience, I got involved in extracurriculars as well. So when I came to IIM Lucknow, so I did my internship with one of the big 4 consulting firms, and I also got the PPO from that firm. But I accepted that PPO. But in the finals, we have an option, as Omar discussed, that we can apply to our dream companies. So I applied to the Carney, and I converted it. So again, all of this, the getting into extracurriculars and doing working on acads at IIM Lucknow, these were all the decisions that I made because I wanted to make my profile best to the consulting, because I knew what I had and what I did not. Yeah.
Yeah. Premraj, can you
Yeah,
tell us
just from ABM
point
perspective. So I would, so as Abraham was mentioning all the companies, I would say around 200 companies come to the campus for any placement session. Out of 200, I would say there will be couple of companies, 2 or 3 companies, which may not favor ABM guys because of their company or like because of their curriculum. Okay. But other 197 companies would not think about this. So basically, it's a very large pool of companies. So it's basically same. There's no difference in from placement perspective. I would say my internship was in
are you
operation
saying
field.
the ones who are coming for PGP and they are also
Yeah, for the ABM, same.
okay. Except for the few that doesn't fit for agribusiness anyway. So they are the only ones.
So there is just couple of companies I'm saying. Like I just have heard. I've never experienced this, but everything remains same. Just let me give a overall about ABM and PGP. Everything remains same in the campus. Nothing changes. We do same thing which PGP does. Don't think anything else like ABM is different, and it is not like SM program of Noida campus. Okay, it is same batch. Everything goes same. The only difference I would say about summer internship. I did my internship in operation field. Okay, but in final placement, I went into core finance role. So it was totally different. Within a span of 6-7 months, my interest changed to finance and I was able to get a finance placement.
Yeah, so this was the Diwali second year on campus. So first year, because I was in placement team, I couldn't be part of all the Diwali celebrations, etc. So this is also from the Diwali celebrations on campus. This is something which was special because this was after the final placements, wherein the last student got placed and all of us in placement committee just gathered together for a photo. All of us were happy, as you can see. And this is from the Scribble Day, wherein in your second year, towards the end, people have all these nostalgia and memory, and that is one of the good events that time. This is from the farewell, which the college organizes for you. It's towards the end when you're leaving campus. So you have a farewell plus dinner. This is also from that. This is from convocation, basically. And these are convocation pictures with my parents. And this is also like the beautiful campus, which I hope any of you all get to be part of. Like this, I think I took during one of the when it was raining late, I think in morning, I think early morning one day. Yeah. So I think that those were the photos that I had to share.
Yes, I hope you can see this.
Yes, yeah, these are the fun ones.
So this is actually similar to what Abraham shared. So when placements end, this is when sort of Team Disha, also the placement prep committee, also has celebrations. So I think you can see Abhyakta right there, right in the back. There he is. That's me on the floor. Yeah. So this is also something special. So this was an Onam celebration. So we have very specific. Also, we have like cultural from different regions. So we have Onam, Pongal, Makar Sankranti, Diwali, all these specific regional festivals also we celebrate. That also happens. This is from one of our classrooms. So generally after every, say, a course ends, we usually take a sort of picture with the professors. This is Team Ignition. So this is the admissions mentoring committee. So hopefully, like I said, if you do get an IIM Lucknow call, you'll hear from these guys. I was a part of this last year. And yeah, this is, so nobody on this call has talked about the party culture at IIM Lucknow, which is really, really good. So see, like IIM Lucknow is in extremes, right? So we have academic rigor going on one side to such an extreme, but we also have the party culture that's so high on the other side. So parties happen practically every day on campus, except during placements and exams. You'll have a party happening somewhere on campus at all times. So this was one such party that we all had at the time. Yep.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. I would like to thank all the attendees and thank you all the panelists. Thank you, Abraham. Thank you, Raj. Thank you, Abhekta. Thank you, Omar. And also thank you, Prem Raj.